Well, everyone, welcome back to the first comparison that I'm actually going to be doing for the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip. I'm going to be comparing it to its older brother, I guess in a way is the best way to put it, the Samsung Galaxy S10. Now, the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip is actually its own lineup of phone in Samsung's lineup. It's not even supposed to be a Fold series like the Samsung Galaxy Fold. So this is definitely its own little thing, and in my opinion, the Galaxy S10 is still a crazy good phone. And right now, actually for my specific Galaxy Z Flip, I paid about $1,400 for it. It was about $1,489, something like that, with the taxes and everything. The Samsung Galaxy S10, however, brand new, it was costing about $890. Since it was released last year, that price has degraded quite a bit, and right now you can pick one up for around that $430 mark. So what I would tell you right now, price per value and price per whatever you're going to get from a phone, the Galaxy S10 is a much better phone for the value than the Galaxy Z Flip. And in my opinion, after owning the Z Flip for a little bit and comparing the two, I kind of think the S10 is the better phone all the way around, even if they were the same price. Really, the main factor for the Galaxy Z Flip and the main gimmick for it would definitely be that foldable screen. But other than that, I think the Galaxy S10 is probably the better phone every which way around. Now, if you want to pick up that Galaxy S10 for that price I stated, you can check out the first link down in the description. It'll take you straight to Amazon. You can buy it from there and help support the channel at the same time. But looking on the front, now the thing I'm going to get out of the way, the Galaxy Z Flip does have a little screen on the front, and I kind of want to take that out of the equation. I mean, it's very, very small. It's a 1.1 inch Super AMOLED display, and that's something that the Galaxy S10 doesn't have, so I'm not really going to compare that display to the S10's display. Once you bust the Galaxy Z Flip open though, you do have a 6.7 inch foldable dynamic AMOLED display, and that one is a 1080p display, and I think it's a good display for sure. It's just a little weird because you do have that crease in the middle, and for someone like me with the original Galaxy Fold, for some reason it didn't really bother me as much, but with the Galaxy Z Flip, I think when it's running this way across the screen, it just bothers me a little bit more. I'm not really too sure why, there's no way to scientifically prove that, but between the both, I think the Z Flip definitely does have a little bit of a disadvantage with that specific display because it is a plastic POLED display, whatever it is. It isn't necessarily as great or as premium feeling as the Galaxy S10's display. The S10 has a 6.1 inch dynamic AMOLED display as well, but this one is a 1440p panel, and like I stated before, the Samsung Galaxy S10's panel, for sure without a doubt, is one of my favorite panels out of basically almost all panels I've ever used. I think the one before this was probably the Note 9, but the Samsung Galaxy S10's panel is so good, and I keep saying S10, it's S10. That panel is so good, and I have so much respect for Samsung for making that panel, and I can't wait to get my hands on the Galaxy S20 because apparently it's going to be much better. I guess we'll have to wait and see. On the bottom, both phones do have USB Type-C, but the Samsung Galaxy S10 has that headphone jack, but the Z Flip doesn't have it. It's not really a big deal to me, but it might be a big deal to you, so you'll just kind of have to figure out and realize if that's a big deal to you or not. For me, it's not. And on the back of the phone, I guess it's the front, but on the back of the Z Flip, you have a dual camera setup, which is a little weird because the Galaxy S10 and basically all phones now have at least 3 camera setups if they're supposed to be a flagship phone. The Samsung Galaxy Fold, I think, had 6 camera sensors on it all around, but it had a triple camera setup on the back, I believe. But whatever, the Samsung Galaxy S10 has a triple camera setup, and even that setup still is super relevant. It's a great camera setup, and even now in 2020, it's still super relevant. The S10 is one of those phones that have held up so well that I'm actually super happy that I owned one from day one. The Z Flip, I mean, I think it's kind of in that weird ballpark because I think it's a great phone without a doubt, and I think the technology is there, but I think for that price point, it's just not worth it if I'm being honest. I kind of spoiled the whole video, but I just don't think it's worth the money, dude. Now that pretty much covers it up in terms of the outside. Actually, one more thing to hit on. The Samsung Galaxy Z Flip does not have a microSD card slot, which is kind of a sad thing. It's actually a really dumb thing. I don't know why Samsung didn't put one on here. I don't think the original Galaxy Fold had it either, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can add it on there. The Samsung Galaxy Z Flip costs whatever $1,400 that I spent on it. There's only one model, the 256 gig model. They should have upped in that storage. I mean, even iPhones, the 11 Pro Max and the 11 Pro, you can get those up to 512. So there's no reason this phone that costs way more than that doesn't have that type of storage model on it. It should have a terabyte model on it. The Samsung Galaxy S10 though does have a microSD card slot, which is super, super important, and I love seeing that on a Samsung phone. But on top of that, there's IP certification on the Samsung Galaxy S10, where the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip does not have it. Now, on the Z Flip side, it's kind of like a foldable thing. It's really hard to, I guess, get that IP certified, so I totally understand. Hopefully down the line, they can kind of develop that type of technology, but as of right now, there's no IP certification on this foldable phone, which is kind of a sad thing, especially for that price point that you're going to be paying for it. So that pretty much covers it up there. Now, hating on the software software, this is a really weird thing because as we've seen before, I'll give you an example. The Samsung Galaxy S lineup, the S10, S20s, all those phones have usually lasted longer in terms of software than the Samsung Galaxy Note lines because those have been released later on in the year. So usually the Note lines get like 2 versions of Android, the Samsung Galaxy S lines get like 3. So right now the Note 9, even though it was released in 2018, I think it's stopping on One UI 2.0, I believe. I don't think it's getting another software update. So the Note 10 will last as long as the S10 and so on and so forth. But the weird thing is the Z Flip came out the same time as the S20 and probably the S30 next year when that comes out, the Z Flip 2 or whatever. So in my opinion, I think the Z Flip will last as long as the S20, which still isn't saying much. I mean, you're paying this much money for a phone like this. It should get longer software support. And the sad thing is the Samsung Galaxy Fold that came out last year, when I owned it, it was on One UI. It's not even getting that One UI 2.0 update until after the S10, and I think around the same time the Galaxy A series, the budget series phones of Samsung's lineup, is getting the One UI 2.0 when those get those updates too, which is so stupid. Like, you're paying way more money and you're getting the same software update lifecycle as a budget phone. Like, it makes no sense. If you're spending more money on this phone, you should be able to get multiple versions of software out of it, in my opinion. But I guess we'll see and just wait what happens there. But in terms of software, the Z Flip should outlast the Samsung Galaxy S10, but I guess we'll just wait and see what happens there. Now, hitting on the performance, this is probably one of the more boring aspects of it. If I'm being honest, I was expecting more out of it, but I really didn't get it. The Galaxy S10 has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chipset, an octa-core CPU, and Adreno 640 GPU, and there were 2 different models and both of them had 8GB of RAM, where the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 Plus chipset, an octa-core CPU as well, an Adreno 640 GPU, and one model with 8GB of RAM in it as well. And based off my testing, I found that pretty much they're almost kind of the same type in terms of the speed. One really didn't seem way faster than the other one. The Z Flip, whenever I was using it and I was playing games on it or whatever, it seemed perfectly fine. It's just taller, so it kind of throws me off a little bit. Like when I'm playing a game, like especially Real Racing 3 or a game that I'm in landscape mode, it just kind of throws me off because I have to hold it. It reminds me of like a pencil or something like that. Like that's how tall it is. With the Samsung Galaxy S10, I'm kind of used to that design and I'm used to playing games on a format like that, so it's a little bit easier. That really doesn't have too much about the performance, but just more of the experience. The S10 I think is still a very good performing phone without a doubt, and I do think One UI 2.0 did clean it out a little bit, which is really, really good. In terms of performance, and you've probably already seen my speed test between them, like I said, I didn't really see one being way faster than the other one, but maybe the Z Flip was just a little bit faster more times than not, so I would probably give the advantage to the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip over the Samsung Galaxy S10 in terms of performance, but it's very close. If you have an S10, I wouldn't go for the Z Flip in terms of performance, but this makes me more excited about the Samsung Galaxy S20. I'm actually kind of let down for the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip's performance. It should have had the 865 or whatever the Samsung Galaxy S20 has. The fact that this one has a just barely better chipset than the Samsung Galaxy S20 really throws me off. I don't know why they did that, but again, I don't understand why Samsung does a lot of things, so that really pretty much covers it up there. Now, hitting on the camera, okay, this is very, very important for me to say. I think the Samsung Galaxy S10 and the Z Flip have almost the same exact camera setup. It's just that the Samsung Galaxy S10 has that extra telephoto lens, so you have that 12 megapixel telephoto lens, but you only have a 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor on the Z Flip, so you have 2 12 megapixel sensors on the Z Flip, a wide and an ultra wide lens. On the S10, a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, a 12 megapixel telephoto lens, and then a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor. And what I can tell you right now, the S10's camera sensors are better. You can do 4K 60 on both phones, but I'd still give the advantage to the Samsung Galaxy S10. You have that additional telephoto lens, which is super important, and even if the quality was just slightly better on the Z Flip, which it's not, it's almost the same as that quality, you do have that additional capability on the Samsung Galaxy S10. So without a doubt, I side with the S10 here. I think that phone is the better camera phone for sure. On the front camera, they're almost exactly the same exact phone. Like, it's funny because they're the exact same phone, it's just one is a little bit taller and foldable. That's basically, they're almost exactly the same, if I'm being honest. The Z Flip should have probably been called the S10 Flip. Like, that's basically the way I would put it. Now, ending it off with the battery life, surprisingly, I was not expecting this. The Samsung Galaxy Z Flip has a 3300 mAh battery, where the Samsung Galaxy S10 has a 3400 mAh battery. So in theory, in my opinion, and I'll say this, I will probably end up siding with the S10, but the thing is that one has a higher resolution panel, and I think it is a better panel overall, so that might end up sucking more battery out in the long term. So maybe the Z Flip has a better battery life a little bit, and with the fact that it does have a little bit of a screen on the front of it, the Z Flip, that might give the advantage that you won't be using your screen phone that much, like the big screen. So maybe you'll save some battery that way, but battery life is very, very close between them if I'm being honest. Now this whole entire video, it might seem like I'm just bashing the Z Flip, and I'm not really bashing it. I mean, I own it. The reason I'm bashing it, maybe it'll seem like because I own this phone and I want this phone to get better. The next lineup and the next lineup of the Z Flip, I want these phones to, they're not going to get better if we just keep hyping them up. We want to critique them to, make sure the next lineup of the phones get better. So I still think the S10 is a way better phone than the Z Flip in my opinion. The Z Flip, if it costs like cheaper than the S10, if it was like $900 or $800, then yeah, I would say maybe it's a, reasonably priced phone. But for what it costs now, I don't think foldable phones are that cool for the price point that they're at. I mean, I think they're cool, but like for a phone factor like this, I don't get what the hype is, to be honest. I mean, I own the original Galaxy Fold. It's not like I'm just trying to be like an old head and trying to like bash it. Like, I think it's cool, but I just don't think that price point is cool. I think they definitely need to work on that price point, get that lower, do what they have to do. Even the Motorola Razr, like all these phones for being this expensive, like I understand it takes time and effort and resources to develop a phone like this, but they have to do something crazy with it. And so that really pretty much covers it. The Galaxy S10 I think is the better phone between these two. Even if they were the same price, I would still pick up the Galaxy S10. But that is pretty much it. I feel like I hated on the Z Flip a lot, and hopefully they can fix it in the future, but that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or you agree with me or disagree with me, let me know in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could check it out. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.